Hi guys! So today I'm going to be filming my first ever makeup tutorial with a voiceover using all Tarte makeup products, which is one of my favorite makeup brands, so let's get started. First off, I'm going to be taking my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Broad Spectrum Foundation. This has SPF 15 in it, which is really good for your skin. Keeps it protected from the sunshine. Although I am a pale princess, I still like to protect my face. This does have a pump on the top, which is great. Keeps the makeup very sanitary, very clean. So I'm putting that on the back of my hand to warm it up and then dotting that foundation all over my face. And you'll notice here in about a second that I had some trouble with the viewfinder. I've never recorded using QuickTime or iMovie, so there you go. Can't figure out which side is which, but I'm putting the excess on my temples, and then I'm going to take my Real Techniques beauty sponge to blend that out. If you are someone who likes to blend out your foundation with a brush and you've never used either a beauty blender or a knockoff beauty blender, which is what this is from the brand Real Techniques, so it's a little bit more affordable, these will change your life. You wet the sponge and it absorbs a little bit of the water, but you can also use it dry if you want a little bit more coverage in your foundation, but I just like kind of light and natural looks. So I'm just gonna blend, and in the beauty community we say, or I have learned from YouTubers, to blend until your hand falls off, and make sure you take that down your neckline so you don't look like you have a chin strap going on. So I'm just gonna blend, 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 and now we're moving on to concealer. I'm going to use two today. The first is Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in Fair Neutral, and then the Tarte Aqua Sealer in Fair. So I'm going to use the Shape Tape underneath my eyes. This is a thicker concealer, and it does wonders for your dark circles, which I haven't been sleeping so well because we're in a new place. So I do have some hollow eye sockets and very deep set eyes, so this is great for under the eyes. With the Aqua Sealer, I'm going to highlight the high points of my face, which will be my forehead, the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, and my chin area. So two different concealers, both are going to do the same thing. I'm a weirdo, so I'm gonna make some faces, but I'm gonna take my beauty blender, our Real Techniques sponge again, and blend that out really well. Underneath my eyes, I'm going to bring it up towards the outer corner of my eye and onto my lid and kind of keep that in a triangular shape. This Tarte Shape Tape Concealer is very full coverage, so you do not need a lot, and you can see that as I'm blending, it kind of just magically erases all of that darkness, all of those fine lines underneath my eye, and it does a great job as a lid concealer as well. If you have veins on your eyes or dark eyelids, this will do a really good job of concealing those. You can never, well, I shouldn't say never. I was going to say you can never blend too much. You want to do a really good job when you're blending. You want to use a light hand. When I say that, you probably shouldn't say never. If you blend too much with certain products, it obviously can push the foundation around or just kind of absorb it into your skin a little too much. So if you're more of a full coverage gal, then just be careful with your blending. And the reason I'm looking down at this point is I realized since I was doing a voiceover, I could listen to music in the background without you guys hearing it or without me getting in trouble for copyright. So I'm turning on a little playlist, and I have finished blending the concealer. So the next step is to set all of that foundation and concealer. Unfortunately, I don't have a setting powder by Tarte, so I'll have to look into getting one of those in the future. The one I'm using is a translucent setting powder by Kat Von D, and as you can tell, I had a little bit of trouble. I love this powder. I do not love the packaging. The packaging makes it very difficult to get the powder out onto the lid. But what I'm doing is I'm packing that powder underneath my eyes, around my smile lines, anywhere where I really want that concealer and foundation to stay and not crease. So in the beauty community, we sometimes call this baking, not like baking a cake, but you're baking your face. So you can really kind of overdo the powder and put a lot of it on certain parts of your face that you have some fine lines or wrinkles, or just somewhere where you might get oily throughout the day and you really want that foundation and concealer to last and do its job. So I am also dragging that underneath my cheekbones. This just gives you a really defined kind of cheek, and it can help with the next step, which is going to be bronzer slash contouring. For this video, I just did a pretty natural look, so I'm just going in with my Tarte Rainforest After Dark palette. And what I'm pointing to is there's a snake on the lid. My snake's in the back right there. Had some trouble with the viewfinder again, just giggling to myself. This is an awesome, awesome palette. It has a highlight, a bronze, a cheek color, and then a couple eyeshadows. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking that bronzing contouring shade and I am dragging that underneath my cheekbones, and also in circular motions, kind of pulling that up onto the temples. I believe in a second you'll see my hand kind of change position. So I've got the brush kind of holding it in the middle, but you might see me occasionally kind of move my hand towards the end of the brush. This is just a technique that kind of helps you use a lighter hand. And with concealer and contouring, you have to be a little bit careful, because if you use too much of the product, you can start to look kind of muddy, and that's why you see me kind of turning each way, because I'm just using the light. There we go, I switched my hand. I'm just using the natural light from the window to kind of make sure that everything is even and everything is blended and looks really nice on my face and not muddy. So you can make that silly little fish face if you need to, but all in all, you just want it to look kind of bronzy, and it kind of accentuates your cheekbones. You'll see me, I'm gonna run it underneath my jawline here. This also can help if you have some double chins going on, or if you just want your face to look a little bit more sharp and narrow. This creates a natural shadow underneath your jawline and just kind of brings your makeup look together. If you want to skip this step, it's kind of an arbitrary step. If you're not a bronzer contouring type of person, you don't have to do this. I am going to be the first to tell you I don't do this on a day-to-day basis, but for this video I wanted to show you. So now we're moving on to blush. I am going to use Tarte's blush in the shade Peaceful. Now, this is a beautiful blush, but it is also very, 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 very pigmented. There we go. See, I didn't catch that on the right tone, but you want to maybe dip in once for this blush and then use very light circular motions starting at the apples of your cheek and kind of pulling that towards your temples. There are different techniques on where to place your blush. If you want a more youthful look, it's kind of a Korean, Japanese, kind of Asian tradition to keep it just on the apples of your cheek, and actually a little bit higher than the apples of your cheek, but I like to blend it up into my temples. So I'm using that same palette and I'm dipping into the highlight shade now. I'm using a fan brush to dust that very lightly on the tops of my cheekbones, and I also pull that up kind of in a crescent moon shape. Sorry for blocking the camera there. I'm pulling that in a crescent moon shape towards the top of my head. Now, highlight is some people's favorite part of makeup. It is definitely one of my favorite parts of doing my makeup because it just gives you a beautiful glow. I don't have a professional setup, but you can see in this video, hopefully, the really subtle, natural, healthy glow that this gives your skin, and it just accentuates things. So I also put it on my Cupid's bow and the tip of my nose. I don't contour my nose. Some people do that. My nose is kind of a lost cause, but I do like to put it on the tip of my nose, highlighter on the tip of my nose and on my Cupid's bow, because it kind of draws the attention there instead of, for me, my nose has some crooks and things in it, and maybe you can't tell, but it's kind of one of those things that I have some, issues with, so there we go. I am using this palette. It's very versatile. I'm actually going to take the same shade we used to contour and bronze on a fluffy crease brush, and I am keeping my eye open, and I am running that through the crease in circular and windshield wiper motion. So I'm doing a very light hand when I use this, and I am also pointing the brush head, the brush hair, directly into the crease. A lot of people will lay the brush flat and start to blend that way. Well, that's going to drag the product to places you don't want, like your brow bone or your lid. We want to keep it right in the crease. I apologize for the outside. So we're going to do the same thing to this side that we did to this, and boom bada bing, with the powers of technology, we are going to make that happen. Awesome. So I'm going to take the dark shade now and very lightly pat into that and focus it on the outer V of my eye. So this is going to kind of make it a sort of a very subtle, smoky type of eye. This is a very simple eye look. It's basically 4 steps for the eyes, but you do, again, want to keep your fingers towards the end of the brush so that you use a light hand and focus that dark shade, whatever you're using, on the outer V. So we put a nice little transition, a light transition color in our crease, and what we're doing now is we are doing the darker color solely on the outer V of the eye. And you want to build up. So I'm only dipping my brush in once, putting the product where I want it, and then dipping back in to put more product. So you can always build up. It's a lot harder to take away. So that's just a little tip for you. You know, start off small and build, and we will make this work. So again, with the powers of iMovie, we're gonna make this happen to the other eye. So the next step is to take a shimmer shade. I'm using a gold. It doesn't show up very well on this camera, but it's a very pretty shimmery shade. And I'm just using my ring finger, which is the weakest finger pretty much on most people's hands, to just very gently dab that all over my lid. I'm taking it from the tear duct about 3/4 of the way to where it meets that V that we created with that dark kind of chocolatey shade. And in a moment after this, I'll kind of blend that all together, but I'm just patting really nicely. Love the way it looks. Now you've got both eyes done, so you can see that kind of little thing of gold. I'm going back in with that crease brush and a little bit of that bronze shade that we started with, and I am just blending the 2 colors together. So where we put the dark shade on the outer corner, we are blending in that gold to kind of make it have a seamless transition. And you can run this through the crease like I did to just, again, blend everything out, make sure there's no harsh lines so that we look flawless and beautiful. And the last step of the eyes besides mascara is to highlight our brow bone. So I'm using the same highlight we used all over the face, and I am taking that very gently on my brows, underneath my brows. And then I am also going to put that on my inner eye, so right by the tear ducts. I'm going to take, this brush is kind of like an angled eye brush, and you'll see in just a moment, I start out by using the brush in my inner corner, but sometimes your fingers are just great. Some people don't like to use their fingers when they're doing makeup because it's kind of like a sanitary thing, but my hands are completely clean in this video. So I start out by packing it on with what I can. Using the brush, but I am going to dip my pinky in, and my nails are kind of long right now, so this was a little difficult, but I'm just dipping my pinky into that highlight shade and just packing it into the inner corner. Placing a highlight shade, a light shade on the inner corners is just going to brighten any eye look. It's something I do very often to just brighten all my eye looks, and then I'm taking my Real Technique sponge and just kind of blending it out and makes your eyes pop. So the last step of the eyes is mascara. I'm using the Tarte's Light Camera Lashes mascara, and I am just going to use it on my upper lashes for this look because this is just kind of a daytime look. I don't always use bottom mascara. I usually only use that for like special occasions. So I'm just going to put it on my top lashes, focusing on the lash band. So you want to bring it all the way to the lash band and extend it all the way out. I also take the tip. Oh, okay, so what I'm saying here is I try my best to keep my eye open and not crease my forehead, because creasing your forehead while you're doing your mascara or any other makeup, it just accentuates those lines. I'm still, I'm young, I'm 26 years old, so maybe you think I don't have to worry about wrinkles, but I'm doing everything I can to prevent those fine lines and those deep wrinkles for the future. So just a pro tip, try your best. You can make whatever mascara face you need to, but try your best not to accentuate those expression lines that you have on your face. So coating. I have not dipped back into the tube. You can see that I'm just using one coat, but I do use the tip of the brush to get my outer portion of my eyes. And last but not least, I'm having some difficulties. Shocker. I got a little kit of 4 lip colors. These are Tarte lip paints. They're just little sample sizes. I got this for Christmas. I'm going to use 2 of them. The lighter shade, which is the first shade I'm going to take, is called Honey. And I am going to use honey all over my lips. And for this, I am going to have to break out a mirror. I can't use the viewfinder to do my lipstick. I don't trust myself that much. So I apologize if the brightness kind of messes up the video, but all I'm doing is putting lipstick on. Not that big of a deal. I didn't do a great job, but I do really like these brushes, the applicator for these lip paints, because it has kind of a rounded tip. It's not a doe foot applicator, it's very cylindrical in its design, so it helps me to just make a very precise line on my bottom and top lip, which is really great. And you'll notice as I do this that I'm not dipping back into the tube. It coats in one coat, so I'm showing you kind of that cylindrical dotting tool for this. And now we're working on the upper lip, which can be hard. And I actually took a darker shade called Mani, and like M-A-N-I, Mani Pedi, and I am putting that on the outer corner. So this is kind of a way where you can ombre your lips. I only put that on the outer corners and in the inner portion of my lip as like a shadow. So it just creates some dimension and depth in your lip color. And that's pretty much it for this makeup look. I'm getting up close and personal with you, trying to use what little light I can to just show you those highlights, show you how the eye turned out. It might not look as nice and blended as it does in person on this video, but again, this is my first shot. I just wanted to do what I could. And here's me being silly, trying to take my hair down, which is a complete mess. I need a hair straightener desperately, but I do not have one, so I haven't used a heating product on my hair in so many months. But I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I hope to do more in the future. But in the meantime, I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in maybe my next video. Bye!